So as I understand it, this was the original dock right here, and they added another 400 feet going that way. They have been finishing on the northeastern side of it, and then they'll come around and do the southwestern side. So you'll have an additional 400 feet, and then beyond that, you're going to have the major dolphins that will, the ships will be able to tie up to on the far end. I believe we can get a better explanation from the contractors here, Mr. Starkey and Mr. Roden.
What you can see here is the 36-inch piles, which support the breasting dolphins. Between the 36-inch piles, there are 6 of them. You can see the 24-inch piles. These support the pier extension. And in the center, you can see where we're reusing a mooring bollard, the original one, to integrate into the structure and create extra strength. As soon as we've driven the piles, you can see we put on some precast tubs, we call them, and these support all the steel work necessary for the pile caps. When we've put the tubs in place, we put beams between them, and if we look on the left hand side here, you can see that the precast beams support slabs. This makes the construction much easier. We're not pouring concrete over water, we're just pouring it directly onto the precast. All the precast is made in our construction yard on the end of the dock. Now what we're watching here now is we're watching the vibro hammer lifting out the spuds that hold the framework. The framework we use to guide the piles into place. What we're looking at now is what we call false work. False work we use to guide the piles. The piles are all splayed out in different directions to create strength. And this false work is supported while we're driving the piles by these large 24-inch diameter spud piles. And here we are about to lift one out and move the whole of this framework onto the next 6-pile bent. Of course, if you're watching it now, you'll understand that you're working on a floating platform, and the crane's moving, and it's really quite difficult to get the vibro hammer clamp and the top of the pile lined up. He's moving to another one. The vibro hammer is a very powerful vibrating machine that oscillates and vibrates the pile out of position. And we can use it to drive piles, and we can use it to install piles. The vibro hammer weighs about 8 tons. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very powerful.
All the structure that you see right now are pile structures, so that's why you see those in the ground. All of these are piles. White piles, the engineers say that anything over 2 stories. Building number 1 is our welcome center. Upstairs here would house offices, and there's also leasable space in this area. This is actually a look over, but the guys have put some ply here to protect us from falling down. So when you're up here, you actually be able to see traffic going down below.
So just offices up here, apart from that?
That is correct. Offices for lease on top of this area. Downstairs will be retail.
This is the offices. Who will be occupying? What sort of offices will be up here?
If Zan Lewis wants the office up here, it's available.
I can, sir.
Yes, you can. I think it was originally expected the customs and immigration may do some work up here, but the space will be available as they may not have a station here per se. They will come and go as they wish, but the space will be leasable.
When we're looking over there, that'll be the main restaurant. It's over 16,000 square feet of restaurant. There'll be a swimming pool out in front there where the white truck is located, and be very, very open and lively restaurant when the project is done. From up here, we also get a good vantage point of the pier that we just traveled. We could see all the work from a bird's eye view, better than when we were on the pier. So it's good that you may take some shots and see and show the BVI public what all the work has been carried on over here in the past few months.
And this building supposed to complete when?
This building will be completed by April.
Are you on target?
Yes, we are on target to finish this building by April. See, the guys are now starting to put on the roof structure. All the roof structure, windows, doors, finished items are actually on island right now. It's just for them to implement. So we're ready and we're pushing to get it done by April. That's what these large lumbers are going on. They're getting ready to put on the roof. We actually have a specialist coming down from the States who have the manufacturer for the roofing system. He's coming down on Tuesday to help the guys with some of the installation. And Premier, if you look back this way now, you get an overview of some of the buildings and activities that are ongoing on the site. Building number 6 in front of us, we have the civil guys down in the trench running all the main cables for water, electricity, telephones, etc. So it's a very active site, and we're trying to get it done as quickly and as safely as possible. What you're looking at is building number 6. This will house the public restrooms. That building there is being constructed. On your right, we have the big retail structures, which are buildings 2 and 3. And the slabs for those are going to be poured within the next week and a half. And then a vertical contractor will take over and take those buildings to completion.
Okay, so we just had a tour of the two-step project as Communication Works Minister, and your impressions so far?
Zanwe and other good press, we are very pleased with the progress. We are happy to see that they are moving very swiftly towards completing. We know that we were behind a bit, but the construction guys are pushing towards having the dock itself ready sometime by the end of April. And the land side, a part of it will be finished April, May, and then the rest of it will be completed by December of this year, I believe is the target. So we are moving towards that. The idea is that we had hoped to have one ship to be able to dock in January, but that was changed, and we are moving towards having both sides of the dock ready by April. And that's the idea that we are moving towards.
Should it be correct to say then that the project is on time?
I wouldn't say it on time. It's delayed a few months because we had hoped to have the one side of the dock ready in January, but we changed that. But it will be ready for April, towards the end of April, to be completed, so that 2 ships can dock by the end of April. So hopefully we can achieve those targets. We feel very comfortable from the contractor's point of view that that's going to happen.
The landside development, satisfied what's happening here?
I am pleased and impressed with the landside development. They are moving very quickly on a number of things. We have it in 2 phases. The first phase is to have the reception center completed by the end of April for when those ships are able to dock. And then by the end of May or so, June, we expect to have some of the shops ready to be outfitted. But by the end of December this year, we hope to have the entire landside completed. So that's what we're aiming for.
Despite what you continue to say, sir, about the project being on time, despite the different delays and so on, and the importance of this project to the territory that you and Premier continue to explain, there seems to be still something not right in the minds of the opposition. They're still talking about the project, what's happening on the project, that is not moving along. What's wrong? What can you say to them? What's the problem?
I think you'll have to ask the opposition what they think is wrong. Like I said, we are very pleased with it. We had some delays, like most major projects can have, but we are glad that it's moving. We are moving towards April, when the first ship is expected to be here on April 29th, the major ship from the Norwegian Cruise Line Company. And we are pretty pleased that we will be able to meet that target. And I can't blame the opposition. I'm sure they have concerns, and we should encourage them to say what their concerns are. But we, as a government, and as minister responsible for the project, we are pleased that we are making progress towards ending and having the project finished on the marine side by the end of April and on the land side by the end of this year. So we are pretty comfortable that we are moving in that direction.
It seems as though you, despite what you say, you are unable to convince them. Right? What else do you think you can say to make them listen?
My job is not to convince them. My job is to complete the project, and that's what we're trying to do.
You are in the position, sir, with the pier itself. I noticed part of it has been completed. The length, what length is finished, and how much more is needed to be done?
Zan, as you could see, we've done a lot of work on the north eastern side, where they've lengthened the dock and widened it quite a bit. They are still doing some more towards the end of that. I believe there's another 200 feet or so to go on that.
That's correct.
To get out to the dock, to the point where the ships can dock. And then they're going to focus on the southwestern side. But the southwestern side, most of the concrete, as I learned from the project manager, Mr. Dion Stout, the southwestern side, all of the concrete slabs and so on, 95% of them are finished and ready to be put in place as they would barge them out and put them in place. So hopefully that will move on very quickly, and by the end of April we can have the dock ready.
Hi. Your impressions, sir?
I am pleased with the progress. As you know, Zan, we've always been saying that this project is very important to the continuation of the development of cruise ship industry, and by extension the economy of the British Virgin Islands, which we have a responsibility for. And hence, my whole government is behind this project. I'm pleased with the way the Minister of Communication is handling the project. I've had the visit today, and I am pleased with the workmanship and how far we've gotten at this point. And from what I've been hearing from the minister and the other persons involved in the project, that the work is speeding up to be able to be completed in time to meet the requirements of the vessels which are coming to dock here.
And then I can also say that we as a government, despite the fact that we've had these inconveniences, are very pleased that the cruise ship companies have been coming in numbers over the season. At the end of the year, we had over 100,000 passengers visited for the first 2 months or so. And already for January, we had a very good record of numbers of persons who have been coming. And it's obvious from what we see out there on a weekly basis that the ships are coming, although they have the inconvenience of having to tender. But most of them are still coming. And I want to commend the BVI Port Authority for doing an excellent job in hosting the vessels and doing the tendering, along with all the tender companies that have been, or local ferry operators who have been doing a very good job. And we have gotten very good reviews and support from the cruise ship companies, Disney, Norwegian Cruise, and all of the companies, Costa and all those who have been coming, that they were able to be hosted as well as we have, with the inconveniences that we have. But we are very, very happy with the numbers. We're glad that the vendors and the taximen and all the others who benefit from this at Craft Alive and elsewhere have been able to have a pretty good season still, although we have had the inconveniences. So we're happy for that.
As I mentioned, the taxi drivers, you would have responded to a caller some time ago who spoke about having problems in terms of picking up the passengers, and they wanted you to speak to the police. Have you got anywhere with that?
We've had a very good meeting with some representatives from the taxi group last Friday, and we have been looking at some logistics in terms of what we're going to do to provide better parking for the taxi men in the area. We're opening another area for them over this weekend. By Tuesday it should be ready. And we're looking at all of the logistics of them moving around. We're going to be improving the driveway around the admin building so that we can have an exit and an entrance rather than both of them trying to come in the same way. So by early this week coming, we'll have an exit around the admin building on the seaside and an entrance on the front side by Banco Popular area. So that should free up the area a little more and create some better logistics. But the Port Authority is doing a very good job of that, and I want to commend them again for their work in providing a temporary space where the cruise ship passengers embark on the taxis. It's a very lovely area as a temporary basis. Taximen are very happy with that, but we want to provide more parking for them. And by Tuesday coming, we should have that organized.